Hey, how's it going? Peter Day here. Welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about these conferences and what we could expect from them this year and how these conferences have been in the past. So if you're watching this video, you've probably been looking into LeadsCon, Mailcon, Lead Gen World, or one of these shows. And I first want to say that the date that I'm recording this video is July 6th, 2020. So this has been smack in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic and stuff. And at the moment, it looks like most of these shows will not happen this year. The reason I wanted to make this video, though, is to do a little bit of a review of these trade shows so that when the coronavirus stuff is over eventually, I do expect these trade shows to be in full force, and I want to talk a little bit about each one of these shows and which has been our favorite shows. So just remember that at the time I'm recording this video, it doesn't even look like these shows will happen this year in 2020. Now, there's one show that is attempting to happen this year in 2020. I don't think it actually will happen. We'll see. But LeadsCon claims that they're going to be hosting their event September 30th to October 2, 2020 at the Paris Hotel in Las Vegas. I think this is just, what this is this is a rescheduled event from when it was supposed to happen in the spring, but I just do not see this. I think this is going to get rescheduled yet again for 2021. I just can't see this show occurring in a couple months from now. There's been a rise of corona cases in California, Las Vegas, Florida. I would be shocked if they actually insisted on pulling off this conference. And even if they did, I think the attendance would be very, very low. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about these conferences, though, because I don't want to be negative about these conferences, because these conferences have been great for our business. And I don't know when it's going to be safe to travel and actually be networking at conferences again and stuff. It could be a year. It could be 8 months. It could be 3 years. I have no idea. But what I do know is that these conferences have been very good for our business. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each conference now so that when these conferences are back in force and running again, you'll know which ones to put on your radar screen. So let's talk about LeadsCon, since I'm on the LeadsCon page here. So LeadsCon has been happening twice a year. It's been happening in Boston, and it's also been happening in Las Vegas. They used to actually do it as well in New York. I attended a New York LeadsCon, but for the most part, the last couple years, they've been switching off between Boston and New York. Now, LeadsCon is for lead generation people. So people that do lead gen, people that are buying leads, people that are selling leads, people that are doing call center stuff. It's basically lead gen focus. And there's a wide variety of people that go to LeadsCon. I've been attending LeadsCon for years and years on end, especially the Boston LeadsCon, because Boston is just a few hours drive from where I actually live. So I've been attending the Boston LeadsCon for years. The Vegas was a really good show last year with a huge turnout. And what to expect from LeadsCon? You can expect there mostly to be advertisers and service providers. There hasn't been that many publishers at LeadsCon. If you're trying to go to a conference where you're just going to kind of get a lot of publishers or be networking with affiliates, you're pretty much better off going to something like Affiliate Summit or Affiliate World or something like that. If you're looking for a huge emphasis on publishers, what I noticed at LeadsCon is mostly it's advertisers, it's service providers, it's call centers, it's different people in the lead gen industry, but it's definitely been helpful for my business and doing business development, and it's always been good to refresh relationships as well. Every time we've gone to LeadsCon, we've connected with new people, but we've also connected with trusted people we know in the industry that have just been going to these events year after year. So LeadsCon has been a great event for us. And I guess if I were to say something negative about LeadsCon, and I hope they handle this better in the future, I don't think anyone appreciated how the coronavirus situation was handled, because we all bought a LeadsCon ticket for when LeadsCon was supposed to happen in when was it supposed to happen? I think it was supposed to happen in March. It was supposed to happen at the end of March in 2020. And basically everyone bought their tickets, and LeadsCon just refused to actually refund the tickets. So instead of refunding the tickets, LeadsCon said, we're basically keeping your money, but you're going to get a free credit to just like whatever the next event is for LeadsCon. I would have to look into their exact policy, but I know it upset a lot of people, because the LeadsCon ticket, first of all, was not the cheapest ticket in the world. A LeadsCon ticket was like $1,000 or 800, maybe if you bought it earlier, as high as over 1,000 if you bought it late, right? So the LeadsCon ticket was around $1,000, and they refused to refund the ticket. So we got a refund from the Paris hotel. We were even able to secure flight refunds even on certain flights, but the LeadsCon conference held on to everyone's money and did not refund the money. They said you just get a free ticket at the next event that you go to. And the issue with that is that it just doesn't seem right. I just feel I know it upset a lot of people, because they're probably holding on to hundreds of thousands of dollars of people's money that bought that conference, and I just don't think it was the right thing to do. So is that a good enough reason for me to abandon LeadsCon? No, I've gotten a lot out of that conference in the past, and I'm not the only one expressing this opinion. I mean, if you just talk to almost anyone who was supposed to go to LeadsCon in March, they would pretty much all say that everyone was kind of upset about that refund policy, because they just weren't giving anyone their money back, and they were just telling people that they had to have a credit towards a future event. But the thing is, with the corona having no sight and end right now, who even wants a credit to the 2020 winter or fall or 2021 LeadsCon? I mean, corona might not even be resolved until 2022 or 2023 or something, in some like major way. Who knows when, but it's like no one really wanted the credit. Everyone just wanted the refund, and that was the main thing that that basically upset people. But besides that, it's been a very high quality conference. I think they could have handled that a lot better, and it is what it is. So my hope is that, look, if I don't want to go to a LeadsCon in Vegas this fall in the midst of like some coronavirus wave 2, my hope is that they would at least observe that credit, right? You would hope that they would at least observe that credit and allow you to go to LeadsCon at some point, even if it's not this very next show. So let's talk about some of these other conferences. Mailcon. Mailcon has been a great conference. Mailcon's been canceled for 2020, but Mailcon is a really good conference. It's been happening at about the same time as Affiliate Summit East and Affiliate Summit West, and Mailcon is all about email marketing. So if you're looking to just get better at email marketing, if you're looking to meet email marketers, if you're looking to just figure out softwares for email marketing, Mailcon has been hands down one of my favorite conferences, and it has been cheaper too than some other conferences too. I think a Mailcon ticket has been about $600 or $500, something like that. I would need to look up the exact number. But Mailcon has been a great conference. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not just uber negative about LeadsCon. LeadsCon was one of my favorite conferences until they kind of just took everyone's money and just refused to refund any of it. But we have gotten quite a lot of business out of LeadsCon, and I've attended a lot of LeadsCon. I've met a lot of good connections there, and we have gotten a lot of good business out of it. I think it just could have been handled a little bit differently. Now, so LeadsCon and then Lead Gen, these are kind of niche just conferences in our space, but they're very good. This is one that this one seems good. This Lead Generation World. So this is a conference that has sprung up recently, and I'm sure it's canceled for 2020, but they are. It looks like they're trying to do it in 2021 in Denver, Colorado. We'll see how that kind of pans out as well. But we were actually planning to go to this London thing. We hadn't bought any of the tickets, but we were going to go to this London thing before Corona broke out. The Lead Gen World was good. I sent one of my team members to go to Lead Gen World in Denver, and they got a lot of business out of it. To be honest, like this, Lead Gen World was maybe even a little bit better for LeadsCon for us, just because I don't know. I just felt like the people going were a little bit more up our alley. So what we do as a business is we are mostly media buyers and publishers. We send traffic to other people's offers, and we just found that people going to Lead Gen World was just a little bit more kind of doing that. Not that they weren't doing that at LeadsCon. It's just we just felt like it was a little bit more up our alley, the Lead Gen World. So these are the three conferences that I've been going to and recommending. So whenever it's safe to do so, whether it's 2021 or 2022, I would highly recommend putting these conferences on your radar screen. I mean, we used to attend these conferences so heavily. Like I was attending LeadsCon twice a year, Mailcon twice a year, and we were going to be doing Lead Gen World twice a year. Like we were literally going to conferences almost every single month in this industry until Corona hit. So conferences have been really good for us, and we've always done so much business development. Conferences is how we've met a lot of our long-term connections, is how we've built a lot of good relationships in person and stuff like that. So whether you're watching this video in 2020 or 2021, just keep in mind these are fantastic conferences that you're going to want to start attending again once Corona is over. Now, I want to give a little bit of a warning. I would be careful with these virtual conferences, at least from a sponsorship perspective. I'm not going to name the conference, but there was a virtual conference that happened about a month or two ago, and we paid all this money to become a sponsor, and it was like really pathetic. Almost no one kind of showed up to the booth and this and that. So I think if you're an attendee, if one of these shows like Mailcon, Lead Gen World, or LeadsCon holds a virtual conference, I would say that if you're an attendee and you can just go to the conference for free virtually or something, I would go for it. But from a sponsorship perspective, I think you want to be careful with these virtual conferences because, again, we paid something like $5,000 to be a sponsor at one of these virtual conferences. And it was it was definitely a letdown. I mean, hardly anyone came to the booth. We hardly got any business from it. It didn't even compare remotely to an in-person conference. So my big warning about these conferences here in 2020 is maybe if you've been a sponsor, if you've been one that's been buying booths at these conferences, just realize that it is not going to be remotely the same trying to get a digital booth as opposed to the actual booth at one of these in-person conferences. So be a little bit careful from a sponsorship perspective is just my recommendation here. But from an attendee perspective, listen, if Lead Gen World or Mailcon has a conference and you can just attend the conference for free or $99 or whatever it costs, right? You would hope it's on the cheaper side for something virtual, especially right now. But if you're going to be attending, fine, but just I would be a little bit careful getting suckered into being a big sponsor at one of these virtual shows for $5,000 or $10,000 or something, because it may not yield the return that you're used to at the in-person show. So this is my 2 cents of these conferences in 2020. Again, I'm hoping that at some point we can just be freely going to these conferences in person again. I think we're going to be looking at doing that hopefully in the latter half of 2021 or 2022. And we'll see how that goes. So yeah, whenever it's safe to do so. I also don't want to be going to these conferences in some like semi like fearful kind of like environment or something. Like, so for me, I personally don't plan on going to any of these conferences until Corona is like pretty much something of the past, to be honest. I don't really want to be flying over to Las Vegas from New York with like concern of people on the plane. I don't want to show up to a conference that's half full because like half the people didn't even show up. Because I mean, it's like, so again, I think there's gonna be a day to be completely going back to these conferences, but unfortunately, I don't think that day will be until Corona is pretty much something of the past. So let's just keep these conferences in mind. Let's keep them in mind for the future. These have been instrumental for our business. We wish that Corona never happened and we were just attending these conferences. And again, we were fully expecting even to go to the London Lead Gen World, but there's nothing we could do at this point except kind of see how things pan out with these conferences. But let's just keep an eye on them and keep them on your radar screen for when it's safe to go back to them. So this is a little review about these conferences, and we'll talk soon. All right, Peter Day, check it out.